Catmull says there are often good reasons not to be honest. But being dishonest creates a dilemma and moral transgression. It's true. To uncover facts and issues, a group needs to not mislead or withhold information. We've seen people withhold information and then give it after a meeting later, and it's some key information you needed to begin with. The purpose is to unfold collective knowledge among team members. We must free ourselves of dishonesty's baggage. Candor, next slide. Candor is not so different from honesty, he says. Catmull says the word communicates not just truth-telling, but a lack of reserve, and being reserved is healthy and necessary for survival. Because people hold their tongues, they hold their communication, and they don't want to offend their teammates here. The word honesty makes it harder to talk about their barriers. There are legitimate reasons not to be candid, he says. Candor does not embarrass or offend others. Catmull, choosing my words carefully feels like the smart strategy to use, he says. Now the next slide, hallmarks of candor. Candor makes a healthy creative culture, letting people feel free, share their ideas, opinions, criticisms. He goes on to say, to ensure a group is using candor, Pixar builds a brain trust of people in 4 ways. They push excellence, root out mediocrity, assess what the company is making, of course, films, that create straight talk in meetings, of course, honest and candor situations. Find smart, passionate people to resolve and encourage candid behavior. Healthy behavior is what I think. The brain trust. Brain trust at Pixar is one of the most important traditions that they have on board, highlighting the difficulties of achieving candor. They set the tone for everything, varies in size and shape and the number of people within the group. Without candor, there can be no trust, he says. That's questionable. Without trust, there can be no creative collaboration. Candor creates storytelling among the brain trust, gets ideas flowing, they can share their opinions honestly and reach out to each other, communicate. He said it's a high functional working environment this way. Somewhere this happened between Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2. They evolved and organically built this brain trust of intelligent people. Next slide, brain trust continues. Things that do not motivate brain trust because they saw each other as peers, as equals, with the passion of making films together, getting credit for an idea. They didn't want someone to say, oh, well, that's my idea. Pleasing their supervisors and leadership. And the brain trust has no authority here in this group that he says in the chapter. Winning a point just to be winning or winning the argument. They don't want this to happen in the group, in the brain trust. Brain trust, things that do develop during the brain trust meetings. Trust, mutual respect with each other, problem-solving power. We've seen power struggles between 2 or 3 people or a side, one side, they pick a side. Productions, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Toy Story 2 all came from this. They're a tight group of people, well-defined and engineered in their mind, illustrators, and they're experienced and knowledgeable what they're doing, consisting of the writers, directors, the heads of the department, the artists. They're all in this together. The group's values have never changed here. Their morals and values throughout these several decades working together have never changed. Next slide. Good reasons for brain trust. There are good reasons for having candor in a meeting, he says. People will be polite with each other, nice. People will have respect and defer to others. They do not embarrass each other or intend to embarrass each other. It's corrective criticism, constructive criticism throughout. Do not come off as having all the right answers all the times. We've seen folks like that. There are lots of pressure in the room. The more people, the more pressure, the more finances and money it's on board. It creates a lot of pressure. to come up with the right answers. Candor produces candid discussions, not crossing lines with each other, communication barriers. Candor causes Pixar to turn a bad project into a good project. They make it better and rewrite and go on and revise and produce top-notch films. Creativity starts from candid discussions and candor. They work and rework and work and rework until they get it right. Next slide, the brain trust again. People that take on the project get lost sometimes in the process. The illustrators, the artists, the creative departments. And so the brain trust is able to pivot and turn them back in another direction, so to speak, take on another approach. Give them a fresh perspective. They're patient with him. They use the candor is uncovered and discovered here. But sometimes the problem comes up. There's still tension maybe in the group. Non-creative environment, the writer's block that we get, making it difficult to bridge the divide among a team. Next slide is Pixar's business model. He says, create an environment where people want to hear each other's good notes. They want to get in and get the information and build from it and grow. They have that passion. They discuss good and bad notes and they go over these challenges, weaknesses, and strengths. They have a vested interest here in the success of the program. Offers freedom and responsibility. The outcome is promising stories they come about here. Filmmakers emerge from the group. Passion emerges from the group. Excitement and energy. The brain trust is different from any part of the organization. Next slide. The difference here. How the brain trust is different from other folks. Made up of people with a deep understanding of storytelling. This is their expertise. The group welcomes critics. They want this advice on how they could become better here. The brain trust has no authority, as I said. The director does not follow the suggestions of the brain trust necessarily. They are able to identify the problems, offer solutions. They alleviate the pain and root out the problems here. Brain trust notes causes the problems to surface. They can just pick out the bad areas and fix those. Creative ideas comes from the brain trust. And such as a peer review that we have in education and academia, they feel that they have that same type of peer review among the brain trust. Candor raises the game of analysts and revisions and rewrites here. The brain trust meetings, the next slide, they have screenings and screenings and screenings, I'm sure. Conference room meetings. They have lunch with each other. They know each other, what each other likes on the menu, probably can order for each other. Just that tight group of people. They gather their thoughts together and ideas, and they come up with a summary in these brain trust meetings. And brain trust connects. The next slide. Each person has an equal voice here. Themes and ideas emerge. They call on for importance of each other. They observe things, have observation, strengths, and weaknesses. They pivot the group one way or the other. In, of course, the healthier direction they point. Create the films for each other and the films for us that we want to see. They give up their control, so to speak. Work on the puzzles and the pictures and the ideas. Struggle with their own dilemmas, I'm sure. If they're spread too thin, they may ask for assistance from certain departments on the brain trust. Brain trust is named. Here's the brain trust. Rich Moore, Andrew Stanton, Bob Peterson, Jonas Riviera, Brad Bird named. The organization does not have a female named in this chapter that I can find, and I think that's important to get perspectives from both sides. Both genders can add a great deal to a team I've seen over the years. Next slide. Key themes in a film. And here's what they look for. Organizational change, growing up in the film, becoming more mature like Woody, taking on responsibility, becomes reliable, They preserve their childhood. I think they add some of the things they might have went through as a child into the film. Their own person becomes real in these films. And they hold on to some of their childish ideas. Next slide. Brain trust ingredients. Here's what they're made out of. Communication must be frank. There must be a spirited debate among each other. I can see them going at it and having laughter and love and energy and excitement in these meetings, like with other organizations. These elements happen to excavate the truth that comes out of these meetings. Next slide. Candor at Pixar. Candor overrides hierarchy. Interesting point there. Candor helps develop creative sessions and increases productivity. Makes people doesn't make them feel unpleasant or threatened. It allows people to share their elements, feedback, viewpoint. It does not make a person feel competitive at all, they say. Makes them participate there's no competition. It broadens the perspectives among the group. Also helps fix problems and find solutions, he says. Good notes and candor. Here we go. Good notes helps the brain trust rewrite the script, revise the script, see what's wrong and right, fix these things. Good notes are specific to the solution. Good notes offers constructive criticism. Next slide. The job of candor here in the management and leadership, to build up and break down things, to fuel the brain trust. Check the impulses of the group. And to have a common goal, helping and supporting each other, develop a level of trust among each other. They help each other, and they understand, the people that's new to the group can understand the philosophies and organization and meet these different personalities. Candor helps the brain trust evolve over time. How do they create this brain trust? Why does other organizations need a brain trust like they do? Must have creative people on board. Is needed to, doesn't matter what type of field you're in, that your organization can use a brain trust. Must have the right mixture of ingredients and grace and insight and ideas to bring to the panel and the table. Now choose the right people. You got to have talent on board. They must have smart, quick thinkers, smart to reach make these storyboards and movies and storytelling here. They put solutions on the table. You need that type of person, he says. Brain trust consists of trusted lieutenants, for sure. We need them in the military, in organizations, nonprofit, in ministry. We need these trusted people on board, from the janitor all the way to the intern. Find people that will level with you, tell you the truth, and won't hold on to them and keep them in your organization. My perspective here. Could we offer the truth and honesty to our co-workers without sugarcoating the communication and to the leadership in these meetings? What about the challenges of the group? What about bringing in females and males? I didn't see any females here. That's one of the things that I would like to see happen. And what's your perspective on that, the way that they did it here, and did it successfully? But we have different perspectives about this. My perspective here would be taking on the author's point of view, the ethical challenge, who exhorts, after lapses and transgressions in American businesses, this leadership renewal is an opportunity. No, it's a mandate for all in business leadership to show where they stand. We need to stand with honesty, biblical, and provide these lessons, teach others about underscoring their own integrity in ethical leadership and moral leadership. One way that we can do this and turn around the uncertainties and chaos in these organizations that we find, we can teach and restore ethics by demonstrating peacemaking and honesty and moral behavior, ethical behavior for organizational change to build a brain trust. And that's the end of chapter 5, and I look forward to seeing your video as well. God bless.